social media platforms: YouTube UTV 124, Facebook UTV 124, Instagram UTV 124, Twitch UTV 124, TikTok UTV_124, and Flow TV channel 124. Remember, UTV TV for you.
I can't
Good morning, everyone. Welcome to the show. It is September 24th. 2021. It is Friday, which doesn't mean much to anyone, especially me anymore, since we're just having to just stay home and do what we need to do. Before we begin, let me just apologize for our late start. We're just having some difficulties, but we're here. And again, before we go into any of the other things, let us say good morning to those of you watching on television on channel 124. That's UTV Underground Television. Thank you for watching us. I don't know whether you're home or at work or whatever you're doing, but we always appreciate it every single day that you are here. And of course, if you're driving or at home as well, listening to us on radio, that's on Hits FM 92.1 and 91.1 FM. Thank you very much. And for those of you on the different social media platforms where we stream every weekday live from 11, that's on TikTok, Instagram, YouTube, and all of it, including one of my favorite places, Facebook, to just watch how the things unfold. Good day to you. Now, in a little long talk, I don't have much to say except to say that the saga continues with the Radical Investment and Good Vibrations Entertainment, and there are more things being said, more pieces being placed that it almost seems to make some sense. But when it does make some sense, it also leads us into a direction where we know that things were not being done in a legal way. But before we do that, once again, great report from Riani Isidore on just exactly what is happening. For those who haven't seen it yet, I trying to explain it to my grandmother, it's not enough. Like, I don't know how to say the words. I know how to give me a in Creole, but to explain, but I think that's what I'll have to be doing over the weekend. I was hoping, Richard is better than I am to really break it down in that way, but that wasn't the case. So I think that'll have to be my homework for the weekend. But like I said, if you haven't seen it, if you don't know what it's about, let's get into it. Run it.
Businessman Mark Maloney, an official representing Radical Investments Limited, is seeking damages from 7 different companies in the United States for supposedly losing millions in taxpayer dollars from a COVID vaccine procurement deal gone awry. Now, in April, during the initial stages of the global race for COVID vaccines, ex-Prime Minister Alan Chasney gave Radical Investments a direct award valued at $7.3 million to buy AstraZeneca vaccines on St. Lucia's behalf. But St. Lucia already had an arrangement with COVAX, who had already committed tens of thousands of vaccine doses to the island at minimal cost. Mark Maloney and Radical Investments were also engaged by the Barbados government. Barbados's Mia Mottley administration also allocated more than $10 million to Radical Investments for AstraZeneca vaccines. NBC Prime obtained court documents filed on September 17th in Florida's Southern District that indicate Maloney was introduced to officials representing a company called Good Vibrations by a Trinidad businesswoman in Florida. According to the lawsuit, Good Vibrations claimed to have the capabilities to source the vaccines for Maloney's company. Radical Investments entered an agreement with Good Vibrations and agreed to pay the company $12 million. After paying Good Vibrations more than $6.6 million without receiving a single COVID vaccine dose, Maloney grew suspicious. His subsequent inquiries into Good Vibrations and its associates revealed a more sinister plot was at play. Mark Maloney and Radical Investments are now suing in a Florida court to recoup the millions lost in what appears to be an elaborately fraudulent COVID vaccine scheme. So were St. Lucian taxpayers caught up in the scandal? On August 31st, newly minted Prime Minister Philip J. Pierre revealed the government was still unsuccessful in retrieving its $7.3 million issued to Radical Investments.
But talking about vaccines, do you know that the last government paid by handwritten check $7 million for the importation of vaccines into St. Lucia? And do you know, Mr. Speaker, on the 13th of July, because they were so uncertain of what they had done, they were not firm in the conviction that what they did was right. They cancelled the order on the 14th of July. They cancelled the order for the vaccines that they had imported. And you know, up to today, we cannot get our money back.
The Barbados Today news outlet on September 22nd published an interview with Mr. Chasney addressing the emerging vaccine scandal. The former Prime Minister told Barbados Today, quote, "Due diligence was done," end quote, adding that the St. Lucia government's deal with Radical Investments was similar to that of African groups. Mr. Jasney also told Barbados Today Radical Investments was reputable, which was a key factor in his decision to proceed with that arrangement.
You know why we can't get our money back? Not because the person who they gave the money doesn't want to give it to us, because of the arrangements that they made. They were not firm in the arrangements that they made. So right now, because you know, in the haste to do things, in the haste to try to mama guy and bluff, they did this kind of thing to speak. And right now, even if the person wants to give us back our money, because of the strictures, up to now, we need the $7 million to help in the increase in testing. We need the $7 million to improve the respiratory hospital.
Barbados Today specifically asked Mr. Chasney if Radical Investments was in fact a St. Lucian company. He replied, quote, "I'm not sure, I just know Mr. Maloney," end quote. Now, NBC Prime did inquire at the Register of Companies. We were told that there were no companies registered under the name Radical Investments in St. Lucia. Rihani Isidore, NBC Prime.
Now, I do hope that gives, for those of you who haven't seen it, haven't understood it, at least some context as to what's going on here. Now, you know, you'd think, you know, that's it. And some people would think that's it. With all of the blank spaces and the voids there, I knew more would be coming out of that. And of course, with Richard Frederick, he was one of the first people to come out with that information, coming out with the documents, asking questions months ago. So months later, when this is coming out, we're also getting new problems that were probably already here, but I think you need in-depth knowledge of institutional, you know, government movements and all that sort of thing. And it's again putting things into context, because we already know that there is something wrong. There was something wrong with what was happening. There was no due diligence. The former prime minister saying that he didn't know anything. You know, people forcing public servants to have that signed, so much so that there had to be a manual check. And we know it's not right, but now we understand. And like how it's explained, the very basic form, talk to me like that, for all of us in the country to know, you know, how it is made, how this was made illegal, even on our end.
About 3 months before the election, approval of direct purchase for AstraZeneca COVID-19 vaccine, Radical Investment Inc. Please be advised that the Minister of Finance has granted approval for procurement via direct purchase to Radical Investments. How much? $7,335,630 to facilitate the procurement of vaccines. You know, when I saw this and I put it out, I did my research and realized that Radical Investments was not a company that was involved in any way, shape, or form in drug procurement. They were not involved in that at all. Radical Investments, as the name suggests, were involved in financial management. That is what they did, financial management. They had never, ever, ever before sought, procured, supplied, or had anything to do with supplying drugs, far less that kind of drug that needed a special kind of preservation because it needed to have been stored at a given temperature to preserve it. You know, but that direct award was given. Mind you, when the demand was made on the Treasury to pay that amount, the staff at the Treasury, quite rightly, were inundated with skepticism. They were doubtful about the authenticity of that arrangement, and they did not want to pay. The staff at the Treasury were very skeptical about complying with the payment instructions of that amount because, hey, vaccines, how many vaccines, blah, blah, blah. Normally, those things are accompanied by a list. But the staff figured that letter was totally devoid of supporting documentation, and therefore they treated it as a hot potato. Now I'm saying that, it just dawned on me that Timothy Mangal got a contract for direct award as well to purchase materials for St. Jude. And that direct award was given, granted, paid, but there was no material list attached to that direct award. That's for another show. Investigations will continue. But you see, folks, at the Treasury, the staff quite rightly decided, look, we're not touching that. But pressure burst pipe, as we say colloquially, pressure was brought to bear until the check was written. But hear this, because the authorization or the direct award lacked any kind of documentation in substantiation of the award, they could not have printed the check on the computer. What are you putting in the computer to generate that payment? So because that payment could not have been processed through the normal channel due to the inadequacy of documentation, the check had to be handwritten. Yo ekwi eklameo for $7,300,000. Are you all listening, folks? We're getting into it now. So, after I showed the direct award on the show, the office of the then Prime Minister, Shasta, decided to issue a press release. They issued a press release calling that document a fake, as they normally do. Are you all hearing me, folks? When I came out and I showed the direct award for the $7.3 million. When it became of concern to the last government, they issued a press release and called it a fake. Nicole McDonald, by the way, where are you? Nicole, how are you? You okay? Yes. They issued a press release saying that that direct award was a fake. Show them the press release to me, please. Good. St. Lucia efforts to secure high demand COVID-19 vaccine. Thursday, July 1st, 2021. By the Office of the Prime Minister. A document is in circulation with false allegations. False allegations regarding procurement of COVID-19 vaccines. Are you all listening, folks? The Office of the Prime Minister is aware of a document in circulation accompanied by a little too fast now, accompanied by a WhatsApp message with patently false allegations. False allegations, they call it. The Office of the Prime Minister states categorically that the government of St. Lucia's purchase of vaccine was done in accordance with the procurement and stores regulations. That is a lie. That is a lie, and I'll show you where it is a lie. And with due diligence, God, due diligence, Johnny, and we are scammed. With due diligence by the Ministry of Finance and the Ministry of Health. Due diligence. Due diligence by the Ministry of Finance and the Ministry of Health. And it went on to say, although St. Lucia received donations of 25,000 doses from India and 50,400 through COVAX, this was not sufficient to ensure that at least 60% of our population was vaccinated. Could you scroll, please? It says in April 2021, the governments of St. Lucia, Haiti, the Bahamas, and Barbados initiated a bulk purchase. Folks, that is not true. And it says that our share was $7,335,000. Folks, none of that is true. None of that is true. And I want you to take note that the document said it was done in collaboration with, it was a bulk purchase agreement. It was done in Barbados, the Bahamas, and St. Lucia, and that our share was $7.3 million. He also said it was done in accordance with the procurement regulations and that due diligence had been done. Folks, if there is anything fake, it is the contents of the press release. It is something because it contains blatant lies. Firstly, we never did any joint purchase with anyone, folks. Nothing is further from the truth. The people approached the government of Barbados. The government of Barbados said, yes, if you can land the vaccines here, we will commit our treasury to paying you $10 million worth of your vaccines, but you are getting $0 and 0 cents upfront. Are you hearing me? Barbados gave nothing upfront, not 1 cent. But as foolish as Shastney was, he took $7.3 million and gave it to Radical Investments, okay, upfront, without even the due diligence. But there was due diligence. I'll tell you where it was. It's in Rohan Cement. I'll let you know. I'll tell you. I can't hold it back. I'll tell you. But folks, I want you to listen. Like I said, the government of Barbados said they would have committed $10 million, but bring the vaccines there first. Barbados has lost nothing. Take a listen to the acting Prime Minister of Barbados, Sansha Bradshaw.
It's true. I want to make it abundantly clear. that no taxpayer resources have actually been expended and directly given to the company for the particular sourcing of these vaccines. This is, however, a most unfortunate situation, and one which highlights the wild, wild west environment of which the Prime Minister has spoken about on many occasions that currently obtains on the COVID vaccine market. Radical Investments did not receive a single cent from us and are therefore not expecting a refund from the Barbados government. The clear understanding at all times was that once the items were sourced and they arrived in Barbados, that the appropriate payments would be made to the company.
Y'all heard this, folks? Barbados did not give Radical Investments 1 penny, not 1 cent. But Chasney is saying we had a bulk purchase agreement and our share, according to the press release, our share was $7.3 million. So he paid all up front. So Radical Investments, represented by Mark Maloney, was given our taxpayers' money for vaccines despite us in St. Lucia being able to get our vaccines dirt cheap from COVAX, or as a government purchasing our vaccines directly from the source, because COVAX sources vaccines for the regional countries. Folks, the development now is Mark Maloney allegedly passed the money to another company and ultimately the money gone. Now, Mark Maloney is suing the company he gave the money to and those who introduced him to, and all of those things. Now, you know, folks, excuse me, Chasney told the news media in Barbados yesterday that Radical Investments is a reputable company and that they had done their due diligence, and you saw it on the press release. They had done their due diligence. A company that never dealt in vaccines, a company that never procured vaccines, a company that never procured any kind of pharmaceutical drugs at all. But you did your due diligence. You did it. And now he takes our money, gives it to another company, who now has to approach another company for the same vaccines. But you know, folks, that Mark Maloney is involved in the rock hard cement. You all know who has rock hard cement? Mr. ex-Prime Minister. I don't know who has rock hard cement. Not his brother-in-law, I don't know, with Mark Maloney. Okay. You know, so Mark Maloney is not a total stranger. Rock hard cement. So there is a relationship. I don't know what relationship there is, but there is one. So now Maloney is suing. Lord. Now Maloney is suing the other companies, Good Vibrations. Good Vibrations. That's a company he say he gave some of our money. He's suing them for a refund in the U.S. courts. Folks, the question is this: why would any prime minister, why would this prime minister, why would a minister of finance take $7.3 million of taxpayers' money by the stroke of a pen, give it to a first company which never dealt with that at all, to take it to bring to another company, and that other company will source it from another company? What kind of thing is that? Why would a prime minister do that? Why would a minister of finance do that? What did your due diligence entail? And why should you do that when we have COVAX on our doorstep? And as a government, we can go directly to the manufacturer And the people in Barbados, the government of Barbados, show you how you should govern. Bring the vaccines. Man, bring them in, I go pay you. That's what Barbados did, but no, we have a slush fund. We have a slush fund. Pemandu Vini, Loco B Vini, Tioa King Vini, Sandals Vini. That's what we have. But the government of Barbados said, come with your vaccines. I need them. I'll pay for them. We take $7.3 million. And you know, the hacks will support it. The hacks. The hacks. Now, folks, Shasta went on to say that in the press release, he secured the vaccines through by adhering basically to the provisions of the procurement regulations. Folks, that is a blatant lie. If they had ensured that the regulations were complied with, they would not have had a handwritten check. They would not have had a handwritten check. And I can tell you that payment was unlawful. Put up sections 92 for me of the Public Procurement and Asset Disposal Act. Section 92, folks. It reads, advance payment. A procuring entity may make an advance payment when necessary to enable the effective implementation of a public procurement contract. But the aggregate, hear this well, but the aggregate of any advance payments made under the public procurement contract shall not exceed 10% of the value of the public procurement contract unless otherwise justified. That is what the law says. That if you are making an advance payment, you cannot go beyond 10% unless it is justified. Barbados paid 0%. But here we are paying 100% upfront when the law is telling us we should not pay more than 10%, and therefore, if the total is 7.3 million, we should pay no more than $730,000 upfront. I didn't say it, that's the law. That is the law. So there is illegality all around, and illegality surrounded that last government. Everything they did was illegal. All around. And I'm hoping that someone, somewhere, is held accountable for the taxpayers' $7.3 million.
And I can tell you for a fact, I am hoping the same, and I know thousands of people are hoping the same, that, you know, this is not another one of those things that will just be said and then you just brush it away, especially as we're seeing that we have nothing. You enter a transaction, you lose the money, and more than that, when we talk about due process, and you also have to think, you know, you have, where's Nicole McDonald here, but, you know, in that office, you have written a press release to lie. Let's say what it is. To lie and say that everything that was being said was fake. So c'est tout ces mouna, tout c'est la pan surtout wes la pan voler, tout c'est surtout wes la qui était là. They too are implicated in this. So the former prime minister who says, you know, there was due process, you don't know that. I don't need a law to tell me do not pay in full for something that you ain't get yet. I know it's common sense, I know it's wrong, and now that I know it's illegal, you have to ask yourself, you know, what are we doing? And you have somebody who's in the middle of all this. You hear nothing from Maloney. Shasne isn't here. He hasn't spoken to anyone, hasn't respected anybody in St. Lucia. The only people he'll talk to is the Bajans in Barbados today that will call him. And you know how he is already. You know, when it's us, he doesn't want to talk. There is nothing to be said. But if they call him, he will say something. So we have that ongoing, and I think even now it is necessary so we can have all the information, put the pieces in place. So when you have somebody like Richard Frederick, who is a lawyer, who understands the law, telling us what exactly is happening, we need that. We need that, because what they thrive on, this former administration, is ignorance and fear and shutting people up and shutting them down. It will not continue. So, once more, where do we go from here? Please, like I've been, your mission, your mem. So there's more. There's more to this. Is this legitimate? What Maloney is, trying to put in the courts? Is that what's going on? With what the court's response has been to his claim, it seems like from the very onset, it just doesn't seem to be the case. Maybe it doesn't carry any weight, but once again, let's let the lawyer tell us.
And a judge in the Florida courts told Mark Maloney, hello, if you want me to head this case, and that came out today, if you want me to head this case, you must prove that all the people you are suing here are basically citizens over whom we have jurisdiction, as citizens of the United States. So the court told Mark Maloney, you better go back and tell me which country those people have citizenship of. And if you cannot prove their citizenship, your case stands dismissed. Take a look at what the judge told Mark Maloney today. Florida judge orders St. Lucia Company in COVID-19 vaccine suit to present citizenship of defendants. Could you scroll down first, please? Yes, I'll just read about the first two paragraphs. Okay. A Florida judge has ordered a St. Lucia registered Barbados-based company to present proof detailing the citizenship of each individual they are suing or face a dismissal of its lawsuit. You all are hearing that, folks? Face a dismissal of its lawsuit, News America has found. And you see the date that came out? Thursday, September 23rd, 2021, the first sentence. First sentence. Folks, if Mark Maloney cannot establish the citizenship of all those people he is suing, it means his case is dismissed, because I don't have American citizenship. You cannot sue me in an American court. So, what happens there now? What happens there? You can take this down. Folks, this is where we are. And I just want persons to address their minds as to what would have possibly happened had those guys won the election. Just imagine what would have happened had those guys won the elections. This is what has become of our $7.3 million. It has gone up in smoke. When people can barely survive in this country, if not the airport, if not Loco B, if not Sanders, if not Pomandu, if not T.O.R. King, all our money is given away, and what is not given away is scammed. This is unbelievable. Unbelievable. Our money involved in a big scam. And we are sure to lose $7.3 million, compliments Alan Shastry and company. I mean, I know there's scams all over the internet. I know the Africans engage heavily in it. There's scams all over. But for a scam to reach a government level is a travesty. And somebody somewhere must be held accountable.
So just when you think you have it figured out, and all of the names and radical investments and then this good vibrations, that sounds like a strip club. I don't, sir. It was somebody else. I laughing. It was another like addressing gossip. What? You'll stay there. Flowers on base, just they laugh. Oh, me say, that's mad. That's mad. And after we do that, guys, as if I feel like we was for true. After we do that, but still, he's still coming in the house. He still cannot respond to any of the allegations. Maloney still cannot come and talk to us. Nothing is happening. People with their lawyers and whatever trying to manipulate the system. So this is where we are. All that is happening. St. Lucia doesn't have its money. We're out in the cold. The tree stands alone. And people saying, oh, Shasta was foolish. And Isab tout ça qu'a fait. Isab tout ça qu'a fait. Pas pièce foolish. Pas pièce deck. Isab tout ça qu'a fait. Et gardez-nous. Quand c'est cette liste hier. Et là, on fait nous qu'à goumer. We'll fight each other. Words fail me in Creole and English. Words fail me today. I'm laughing, but if you're laughing, you're crying, because I cannot imagine right now we're having a crisis with COVID. People are dying and all of that. We understand, and we spoke about the resources that are needed, the ventilators and everything else. But we have not just been giving away money over the past couple of years, 5 years there. We now gave it with nothing in return. That has been the MO of the former administration anyway. So, yesterday again, another thing, you have to bear with me because play bike, I've been play movie. So there's another part of this that we have to look at now. Let's look at the Good Vibrations Entertainment people. They now are countersuing. That is their intent. Let's take a look once more at the document, saying it is part of a new twist to an already convoluted saga surrounding the purchase of AstraZeneca vaccines by Maloney's company Radical Investments Limited as part of a regional bulk purchasing arrangement involving Barbados, St. Lucia and Bahamas government. The supply of the required information could avoid the case being dismissed. In an exclusive interview with Barbados Today via telephone on Thursday, an angry-sounding Moore accused Maloney of not telling the full story and said that he will be filing a huge countersuit against the Barbadian businessman by Monday. Let's go to the next. Let's go to the next clip. So you're seeing here Moore saying that he very well might countersue on this for this Maloney guy. According to News America's publication, a Florida judge has ordered Maloney's St. Lucia registered Barbados company to present proof by Friday detailing the citizenship of each individual being sued. So that was what Richard Frederick did already speak about. Let's go to the next. It says, Moore continues, while not naming anyone, Moore revealed that he had been receiving death threats and would be addressing that before the law courts there as well. He says, I had a conversation about this death threat with the FBI and they wanted me to go ahead and send it in and they would deal with it. But I said, no, I am going to wait to see how this guy acts and if he tones himself down. But he did not tone himself down. So now we will have to deal with that accordingly, said the chief executive, whose company's core business is a state-of-the-art film, TV, digital production, and humanitarian work. So once again, that's good vibes. Moore said that he has not yet been served with any court papers and only learned of the legal action during the interview with Barbados Today. He said he will now have to embark on a damage control campaign in Barbados. Now that I understand that this is taking place, I am going to have my PR in Barbados and we are going to be placing advertisements regarding this situation in Barbados. Seeking to explain the fracture in relations with Maloney, the non-delivery of the AstraZeneca vaccines, Moore claimed that he was not the first choice as the business partner in this venture. Let's go to the next. He says, he had a deal with the Barbados government prior to coming to me. Moore claimed that Moore is now talking about Maloney. He was dealing with another supplier, he didn't get it, that the vaccines, and then he came to us to help facilitate afterwards. We were second. So now he is trying to blame and pawn everything off on us, when in actuality, it wasn't us. He was under pressure, so he was trying to use me and my company as scapegoats, and I would not tolerate that from anyone. Moore continues, we work in humanitarian. I'm a conscious-minded person. I love people. We don't take people's money. We don't fraud people. He got money back in the escrow. I have a receipt of wire money from the actual attorney, money that was sent back to him and his company. Monsieur, mi roro, mi desagwema, mi bagay. So just so we can have it all out there, that in the very beginning, the direct award being put out, Nicole McDonald and the team at OPM sent in a press release saying that that wasn't true, and then you find out that it's true, and then we realize he spent $7 million to an intermediary that we've spoken about. There is no need to have a middleman when you already have COVAX. COVAX will work to get the vaccines to us in not just a timely manner, but also at a good cost. So now Maloney is suing the company. So that's two middlemen. So St. Lucia giving $7 million to Maloney. Maloney say give it to Moore, and Moore say he's going to get the vaccines. So that is what we're seeing here. And everybody's trying to blame each other. So Maloney saying it's the other Good Vibrations, the weed company fault, and then Good Vibrations, now the guy is saying that he's angry and he's going to countersue. And in all of what is happening there, what happens to us? What happens to our money? What happens to the $7.3 million of taxpayers' money taken by a former prime minister and given to his friend? This current administration, I've seen Mondi Lewis as the current PR person for this administration saying that this is under investigation, and unofficially we have been promised to get the money back. If you have seen, I have no confidence in the word of Maloney and promises. People signing everything everywhere and documents, and look, there's no good faith with any of these people or any of these transactions. The country wants its money, and it continues to be disrespectful to even know that in all of that, people will still try to find excuses. I heard on different talk shows people saying, you know, so what, the $7.3 million, that money not saving a life, not buying a life. And I told you I would want to see what the shameless hot flubos, how they would spin it, and that continues to show me how far in the guts, how deep these people will go in saying that, you know, so what? You'll get the money back, don't worry about it. Let's focus on other things. Let's focus on COVID. And of course we need to. Let's not pretend that this isn't happening right now. So why can't these two things be looked at? Why can't these two things be something that we look at if we're going to be dealing with COVID in a real way, in a legitimate way? $7.3 million going into something that we have not seen. Far from it, the $500 million that was already taken and borrowed in the name of COVID. And you mean to tell me it's not a big deal to some of you? Well, for the rest of us, for the right-thinking St. Lucians who understand what is going on here, we must not relent. And I look at what's happening in Barbados and the comments that I'm already seeing, even with the interviews, even with the articles that we're seeing, they're letting that go. So what for us? Can we come together as a country to say, give us our money back? Is that something that even then we will have division over? Maloney. All right, Maloney. So I do know. Maloney. We'll be right back.
We can win this war. Can't vaccinate. Can't take our life back. Can't vaccinate.
Now that there is a vaccine, I am very optimistic that we can return to a sense of normalcy very soon. And that means having that first fete, that first concert, that first party. Encourage your friends to get vaccinated so that the sooner we get to this herd immunity, the sooner we can be out there again. The chance to see our local and international artists on the stage performing again to a very captive audience. People enjoying themselves, people letting go. This, for me, is what I would really like to see. So, go out, get vaccinated, let's make it a reality.
Get vaccinated.
This message is brought to you by the Bureau of Health Education of the Ministry of Health and Wellness.
Get up and go. Oh, oh, oh. I think I'm going crazy. Just thinking of you, babe. I need to be your lady, 'cause it's driving me insane. I think I'm going crazy.
can't stay.
Re-elected Micoud South MP Alan Chasney is yet to officially take up his duties in the House of Assembly. A post-election vacation has apparently kept him away from the lower house for 3 consecutive sittings to date. Despite his physical absence from the local political landscape since leading the United Workers' Party's failed re-election bid, the Micoud South MP has, however, reassured his supporters on social media, sparingly posting his critical views on the Labour Party's recent policy decisions. Now, aside from mostly predictable Labour Party admonishment of Mr. Chasney's extended absence from Parliament, NBC Prime gauged the sentiment of some of the Micoud South electorate who on July 26 returned their MP to the lower house.
Well, my take on it is the man just go and relax and allow the other government to do their thing because he doesn't want to do the same thing that they did him at first. So that's my take on it.
I believe he should represent the people in Parliament because I feel the people need representation. You know what I'm saying? At the end of it all, the people need the support in Parliament from the district rep. You know, I'm not saying that he cannot travel out and he cannot do what he has to do overseas, but the people, for me, the people need the representation.
Well, it's not much I can say because I haven't seen that man since campaign, when the campaign, I haven't seen that man since. So I don't know where that man hiding, where he goes, so we don't know where he is. So the only district rep we have right now is Gibeon Ferdinand. That's the only man I'm seeing in my eyes often. That's the only man that coming to see us now and then, yeah.
United Workers' Party officials maintain their leader is taking a well-deserved vacation despite the continuation of government business. But the question stands, would Mr. Chasney have proceeded on vacation if his party was victorious on July 26? Gibeon Ferdinand, the defeated Labour Party candidate, says Mr. Chasney appears to have discarded Micoud South voters.
Under Philip J. Pierre, our Honourable Prime Minister, we licked our wounds and we stayed together. The leader of the opposition stepped up and did what he had to do. If you are the leader of the party, he's still the leader as far as I know, and you're the leader of the opposition, you need to respect the office of the leader of the opposition. I don't care who the person is. There's an office of the leader of the opposition that needs to be treated as such. At the moment, I cannot say that he'll never be back, but the fact is 3 sittings and we've not seen him. So as I said, my campaign slogan in Micoud South last election was "I'm here for you." So I need to let them know that I'm still here for them. And if they need a parliamentary rep, which I suspect they will, I'm the man.
Now the standing orders of the House of Assembly addresses delinquent attendance records. Any lower house member who fails to notify the House Speaker in writing after 6 consecutive no-shows can be compelled to vacate his or her seat, a move that can trigger a by-election. Rihani Isidore, NBC Prime.
Since we've spoken about, where is the former Prime Minister, where is Alan Chasney, I've always, wanted to hear what the people in Micoud South, how they're thinking, how they're feeling. Do you feel abandoned? Do you think more could be done? Do you feel like you're being represented when there's the House seatings and, this man isn't here for, the past 3 sessions? And I just like to hear where people are, what are their truths. So still hearing them, that's important to me, and I hope you are on the same page because it is a difficult thing trying to understand Micoud South people and where they are. So hearing that, I think, was very important. So let's take a look.
I don't really know, but we're still looking over for him because he was really nice in the situation. And then in a while we'll see him for true, but he's supposed to be around his area trying to take care of his people since we put him in power.
I'm not too worried about that because I never voted for him, so I'm not concerned.
Well, depuis parti là, nous même pas chez moi ouais. Pour sur moi dit quoi massacre là, sur moi baisser en côté check li, sur pour raison ça là, à grande manière. Moi dit bail pour faire bon, avec pas ouais. Sur nous baisser côté.
Well, ça me ça dit about ça de le chay là yo bali pas te expect pour une chay ça pour porter. So il s'aime ça touble la tête, so il regarde la monnaie pour poser l'idée. Mais il pas dire loin qui pas peine. Il y a un pays à côté, mais il a vie tout à l'heure, il répond tête les gars. Il pas fini fait bail, il bien besoin faire toujours. So nous wish pour y vivre. Et côté il y a na demandé s'il vous plaît, nous besoin ici à vous mettez toi pour vivre ici s'il vous plaît. Merci Echai.
Mr. Shasney is on vacation from the time he was in power until he's out of power.
So, like I said, interesting stuff, hearing what people have to say. Oh, sometimes I really love my people. So, oui, c'est mon abusão. What the man says, I tell you, stop shy. So, I think with all of that, the results of the election, people are still, they're still there, Bazudi, you walk up on Koyo, and I find it just so interesting where we are. And permit me and forgive me playing Mary Isaac, twice in a week, but it's things like that, hearing people on the ground, and also hearing a former minister say that she is relieved that they lost. Play the clip.
We understood what this pandemic was about, and we understood that the protocols that we were putting in place, we had to adhere to those protocols ourselves.
Yeah, but why did the United Workers' Party have a motorcade that attracted thousands of people?
Yeah, but remember, there were protocols. There were protocols set out for these motorcades, and the CMO's office was very strict about that. And we were told one motorcade per party. And after the first one, when the Ministry of Health, the CMO, realized what had happened, the command center people, they said, hey, no more. You can stay in your constituency and do your motorcades, and of course follow the protocols while you're doing that, but there will be no more island-wide motorcades. But even prior to that, we had motorcades. Prior to that, the Labour Party had motorcades, and they had super spreaders. You understand?
So therefore, are you suggesting, based on the comments that you made just moments ago, that the United Workers' Party was pressured into calling the July 26th general election, even though the elections were due constitutionally in October?
Definitely, and everybody knew that. It was all over the place. Call the election, and all media houses, all Facebook. There were so many television programs set up just to, Alan must go, and we have to call this election. He's stalling it so that he doesn't go, and all these kinds of things. The pan was in your ears all the time, everywhere, all over the country. So we just had to do something.
But the government had to do something. The government was holding the reins.
We were afraid that this would get very violent, Timothy. And we had to, it was almost a relief after the election that the Labour Party won, because we were really, really afraid that there might be a lot of violence had we won the election. So while we were surprised that we lost the election, in a way, we were relieved that the results did not cause any kind of violent outbursts and stuff like that.
The relief you're talking about, was this something that was discussed?
No.
It is your opinion that the United Workers' Party was relieved that it lost the general election, because it's basically the first time I'm hearing of a political party having lost and feeling relieved that it was defeated.
It's a personal thing,
okay.
But what I'm saying is what was discussed was the pressure on the government to call the election, and the fear that the country would fall into some kind of violent turmoil if we did not, right? And I mean, the Prime Minister did not say that to anybody or anything, but you could feel the pressure, you understand? And when he called it, I believe I was relieved. And a lot of people were relieved that, wow, it's called. So now they will keep quiet. Now the pans will go away. Now we will be able to breathe. You understand? And I mean, we really felt like, a lot of people felt they couldn't breathe. It was like these people were just sitting on your neck, and you've got to call it or else. And it is what it is.
I watched the clip, and Oje, Kumela. So, Mary Isaac, as you can see, is saying that we people, the country, pressured the government with pans, and you know they didn't know what to do, so they had to call elections. I guess Christopher Hunt's idea worked, but it's just so mad that somebody was a former minister, part of a party, saying they are relieved that they lost. Nobody. So you're relieved that you lost, and they're trying to. I guess it worked from before. When they were saying, the St. Lucia Labour Party is a violent party. So now you're trying to switch it to say, I'm happy because if we lost, people would have fight. Oh God. That is just madness to me. But it also shows me too that you can say what you want. Maybe the SLP did what they did, but let's not pretend that it was any major PR campaign that worked. I think it really was St. Lucians coming out in a way that adhered to the protocols, and they didn't know what to do, because when you have what they had again, the Flubbo train, that involves touching. We met there, so the alternative to that would have been the SLP's, SLP supporters, and well, not just SLP supporters, but people who are not focusing and not supporters of the Flubbo at the time would have done the pan, and again that spanned and transcended, it being here that was overseas. You would post it, have videos, so it did adhere to the protocol. So now hearing that, I'm telling you, I'm very, very interested in where people are after the elections and what their mindset is. So Mary Isaac with being there saying that, I don't know what to say except that it was just very funny to me that at the time, can you imagine, they're saying you're being pressured and the pans, and they just wanted the pans to stop, so they called the election, and how you are relieved. What's a pathetic excuse for. That's your Minister of Health, right? And I'll take any proper clip. I don't want to make an exact promise of Mary Isaac, but not of her giving advice on what to do with COVID. I do not want to hear. There is no place for it, except for me to kick off on Mary. I see the point of Mary or using it in my show. But so we're here now on the Flubbos, many of them still Arara, and some, I think, legitimately concerned about where we are going with the COVID response. Let's just put it where it is, and they have their right. But what I do not subscribe to is this misinformation, disinformation that we're seeing, and what it could mean. If you want to talk about violence, say baila natana leska FM, say Lord baila say munakadila sa kiviola, that has violence. So, but before we get into that, let us again look at the distinction between misinformation and disinformation, because we cannot, in the same way during campaigns, it was about truth and it was about facts. We need to know then to, almost battle what is being done here, the lies that are being said, the fear that's trying to be spewed, all of that. We need to arm ourselves, arm the country with fact and with knowledge.
Every day, we receive information from a range of media sources. But how can we make sure that what we're consuming is reliable and accurate? With these steps, you will be better prepared to make sense of the different kinds of information you encounter. You will learn how to identify the three main types of unreliable and inaccurate news. And these can all cause harm and distress. We will start with identifying disinformation. This is information that is false and deliberately created to harm a person, a social group, an organisation, or a country. One example of disinformation is the false claim that the coronavirus was created in a lab in Wuhan, China. This is clear disinformation Because suggesting COVID-19 was intentionally created in China to cause destruction is untrue. And the World Health Organization publicly verified this is not how the disease originated. The person who posted this originally knew this and deliberately shared this false information anyway. The second term is called misinformation. This is information that is false but not created with the intention of causing harm. Even celebrities can get it wrong. When COVID-19 spread to Europe, rumours emerged that 5G could cause harm. This was shared by prominent celebrities who didn't realise it was false. Reliable scientists have debunked this rumour, stating that there is no evidence 5G causes any damage to humans at all. The third term is called malinformation. Malinformation is when accurate information is shared to cause harm, often by moving private information into the public sphere, such as secrets or private images. Remember, information can be videos and images, not just text. Now you know the key terms: misinformation, disinformation, and malinformation. If you spot any online, make sure you report it. And most important, don't share it.
So once again, the importance for me is on knowledge and for us to understand what's going on. And in much of the same way during the campaigns, you got the flubbo hacks just saying anything, doing anything, knowing that what they're saying is false, but putting it out there anyway and hoping that it sticks with the base and, you know, people who don't know any better, that it, you know, it will affect them, it will, you know, influence them into casting the vote on their side. That's what we saw, and it continues even now. And I think it is something that we should be concerned about, because when people are in the midst of whatever they might be feeling, maybe after a loss, I don't know how you put arara into a word, a legitimate word, but you know, there's a significant loss some of them might be feeling, the anger, the sadness, the frustration, all of it. And when you have it, you know, it's being used by some people in a way that is concerning to me. And I say that about the usual flubbo hacks like Champagne and the rest of them now on Sky FM, doing all they can do, even as Guy Joseph and, you know, the people that they worship like Alan Chastney isn't here. They're trying to show that they are holding down the fort. So when the little crumbs are being given, so one of the people doing this is Champagne. And I wanted to listen to what was being said, I think it was yesterday or day before, of the election, and what this does when you stoke people's frustration and anger already, what this could lead to. Listen.
Moi Champagne pas à comprendre ça. Moi politique ça comme l'année massa comprendre qui manière ça et actuellement yo joine Yoni Bumblebee a Busy Bee a Richard Patrick il show tout partout l'équipe ministre ça décision actuellement moun pas parler peste.
Quand je peux payer passer qui va y lui avec l'autre boucle qui ça il mène à mon local qui va attirer costume là. Si paye yo gars on est pour look up pour bon Dieu passer nom ça mais n'a dit on bail moi ça yo vle venir de Champagne c'est nom bon Dieu so yo ça ça yo vle mais moi ça les jours yo rivé yo kay demander pour mort et que bail mort yo kay beg pour mort et que bail mort yo ka moi ça ouais sans la vie moi ça ouais un bouc vieux fort ka dragon sous caisse derrière et qui a demandé pour la moi ça want l'autre pour a créer tolpin moi ça créer non parce que c'est jamais marchand il moi literally ouais marcher à l'an mais pour né et qui style pas né bible la style tout ça yo ka demandé pour mort et yo pas kay mort because of ça yo pas sur la terre yo ne peut pour lui because Champagne tout cette toi ça non y a pays ça là seul 7 monde qui est-ce que ça pour cette toi ça c'est book SLP matin ça là. But regarding the Dr. Secret, we can just hope
that parmi ces gens qui sont morts, il y en a dans ce book ça, et bien, 2-3 dans yo, qui ont fait pendant Covid ça, pour ça, last mati by moun, à sur la test house. Because we really high imagine à ce book ça va faire là.
My brother,
mati by moun, just because you play gagner l'élection.
Mati, dicite, tout carte by pour gagner. Propaganda, toute bêtise. Ça cause yo pour, well, moi, champagne garde, yo pas jamais gagné. L'année, moun qui bave les temps, moi, dit ça. Yo pas jamais gagné cette élection.
Champagne, t'as dit yon bail. As far as moi, ça, nous n'y a chai moun, moi, t'es quoi qui t'es intelligent cette ici. Mais regardez-moi, encore dit, l'année, pas de moun qui pas intelligent qu'on a quoi, ça.
C'est moun, écoutez-moi, ou right as mes numbers là pour moun qui est intelligent plus haut, because moins de gens cette ici vote by gouvernement qui est là. Yo volé ces numbers, pendant. Mame les sa moun sa di yo ka kwe champagne yo wan yo ka kwe man côté fax tout bay. Les bons partis n'a dit moi ka dit tous les jours pas jamais gagner élection qui passe là. Ou comprendre ça moi là yo pas jamais gagner. Yes, yo pas jamais gagner. Yo savent yo pas jamais gagner non plus.
La madame toutes ces bails ça prime ministre ça fait là c'est autant.
So couillon c'est mon couillon.
Et pour ça mon ça ka vote against ça.
Pestan. C'est mon gars qui est un homme jeune, homme qu'on a retenu classe ouvrière, coup de qualité bail développement ça fait mon cas travail pour aller voter bail ma. Ça jamais fait test. Emboucatoire dans l'église. Emboucatoire dans l'église fait combien violence bail, ça shout this up payer. C'est mon gars qui décide good bad.
You'll tell me what you think of that. We'll open the lines now at 572-7588, and also you could call us at 484-7588. Now, tout se baila natin champagne après ou ça bail about malédiction. On est tout bail kadi akodi moun kay mari pour mort yo pa kay mort. Tout se baila le sec l'année a oué là, a pays ya. Moun ka bay moun. Zon dans l'hôpital pour finir, zon pas jamais fini parce que fini. Zon ka pli poué ces bay là qui là, c'est wash là, ces bay là qui là. Les ont perdu l'élection et le moun ka mort. Et on ka vinn parler about malédiction. Moun ka play mort, yo pa kay mort. And they like to talk about yo yon ki nom body. Akodi ou c'est l'autre c'est moun. Yo pa rien, body pa gade yo. Zon yon ki ish body. And using God's name in vain like that on that Sky FM, I don't understand how people can do that. And they're, giving out scripture and all of that. C'est volé à zoteni la parmi zola zo pa de gadi rien. They been hypocrite waiting. But more than that, I want us to speak and listen to what is being said here. So when a caller, at first the caller was, grudgingly wanting to, agree with what was going on. And at the end of the call, he says, yes, SLP stole the election. So when you're saying that to people, what do you want? What are you saying? What's happening? This kind of disinformation, basically, and he himself saying, he don't have facts, he don't care about that. So when this continues, what do we expect? And again, it calls for better PR from this SLP administration. C'est pas tout le ou kay ni moun pou vin di akodi a bagay pa vwe. Ou ni pou pwe duva pwe. And it's not just for, the government, it's for the government as well, having a PR strategy, having one as a party, and making sure that things like that cannot and should not be happening. So you can say what you want. The people have their following. They have the people qui are depot kote yoye. Si yo tensa, alessa yoye. Let's take the call. Good afternoon.
Good afternoon.
Good afternoon, sir.
Tresha, how you doing?
I'm all right, thank you. How are you?
Tresha, you're not surprised at what Champagne is doing there? Even before the election, Champagne was already talking garbage and his whole crew on that program. These guys, the problem there is they just cannot accept that defeat. They cannot accept it. The SLP did not put themselves there. The people spoke. You all have been in office for 5 years plus, lying to the nation. Cannot get truth. Every time is a story. This week is this thing, tomorrow is another problem. And we have fellas like Champagne. I'm telling you, Champagne is an ignorant fella. He's an ignorant guy. And not yellow. people calling now and talking as if Shasney was Moses that came to deliver us in St. Lucia using the Bible and all this nonsense.
Yeah.
Champagne is talking about Yokai Madepu Mort, Yokai, the same thing could happen to him. I don't understand how and we have so he himself can find himself in the same situation because the rate that some of them are going there. I suspect they might commit themselves. Because these people have taken that thing so serious. So in 2016, when they were in office or when they won the election, it was strict. They had no volley. It was not St. Lucians who voted for them. It was just, I really don't understand. And the problem I have too is the people that supporting the nonsense that these guys are speaking on the media every single day. We have St. Lucians who are supposed to be intelligent. When you hear them call Champagne acting and adding to what Champagne is saying, but Champagne have no choice. What else can Champagne do where he is there? What else can Champagne talk about but find ways and means of coming with lies and stories? But what they fail to realize, the people have spoken. They will have to sit there and talk nonsense for another 5 years. So solutions have to be careful because all they should do is never tune to that station. Too many lies on Josie and all these fellas feminists stuff where they come and talk garbage on Sky FM. After some of us are so ignorant, it is making us worse. Thank you, Tresha.
Thank you very much, caller. And, with what's going on there, you would say, why are people tuning in? But for some people are looking for comfort. That is where they go. And, it's baffling to me that there are people like Champagne, like Herod Marius on Sky FM, trying to hold on the fort. And what do they have to show for it? That goes to show, I don't want to do that. I just feel like it's wrong that there are people on Sky FM who do not even have a home. They are homeless. They're staying in an institution because they do not have a place to go and they cannot get any real assistance from the United Workers' Party. But they will go every day on a show. Every day on a show. Praising Alan Shastney, praising the party, doing all what they have to do. You have to lie, say it, say whatever will stick, say it. And you are homeless. And I'm not saying that to, throw it as power. I am actually asking this party to look at ET and look for ET for me, please. This is not, this is not pettiness. It's just, to me, it's wrong. How can that even happen for somebody to do that? For somebody to watch another person come in, day out, and you're living your good life and everything, and somebody doesn't have a place to rest their head, But maybe that's where the mind is at, and you have to ask yourself, how can you even compete with that? How can you even look at that and want that to be the situation that you're in? I listen to that and it is sad. These people are barely getting paid anything, a pittance. You pas même l'argent. Ex Champagne ka fait ça, Marius ka fait ça, E.T. ka fait ça, lever tous les bons matins, venir à la radio station pour parler moun mal, pour faire tout ces bails ça et pour pas rien. Ex c'est moun qui a joué yo foucan yo pas là. People asking for them in Miku South, they're not there, but that is what you will continue to do. And don't get me wrong. There is a place for real opposition. It is what makes democracies work. Legitimate concerns, come with it. Speak about it. So whereby come out and say there is a need for that. But this is nothing. We continue though because more on the disinformation. They're just trying to say anything, and here is another one of the things that are being said.
There is mass confusion. It is reported, but not proven yet, that Kenny Anthony has given Philip J. Pierre up to the middle of October to get his act together, or else the party goes down. Repeating, Newsbreak, Kenny Anthony has given Philip J. Pierre by the middle of October to get his act together or resign, or there will be a vote of no confidence, which means elections will be near. Keep your ears to the ground. Keep your ears to the ground.
Another one of the things being said, and the reason why I wanted to play, what Mary said and what Migu South people are saying, where people are at this time, and I can hear from this individual, you really hope, you wish that something were to happen and there is a by-election, because you cannot see, you cannot believe where you are. And in some cases, I imagine, some people are in that phase of grief or whatever when you've had this kind of loss. Maybe you're in denial. I know Champagne is in it. Champagne was foaming at the mouth, literally. And it hasn't abated. He's still there, poor jab. And I really think, you all think I say that in joke. We talk a lot about mental health and all that. You really need to look at these people. Mary coming in to say, she relieved that they lost. She relieved that they lost. Is that why you wanted to run for Castries South? For you to lose? She was relieved that they lost. I don't know what exactly is going on, but you'll need to check yourselves. And it also shows about, the house slave mentality. Chasse n'est pas là, mais ou même là, ou là qu'à travailler, ou là qu'à travailler, tout ça ou même ni, et vous pas rien pour lui. Nothing for it, but just to make Massa happy. Hey, well, now je me play nom comme ça. Let's take the call. Oh, we lost it. I look at all of this as a way of, understanding life, understanding people, and I may not know, personally, and allow me to speak on my own, like where I am. I don't know, what's going to happen and where I go from here, but whatever it is, and whatever I want to be, whatever I'm going, I know what I don't want, and I do not ever want to be in that space, in that way, like these people who will do that. It's really, really sad. And I just want to reiterate to the people who are watching, to the hats on the live, if you know anybody that can help E.T., please. You cannot watch somebody. And it also shows about this party too, how you can have somebody coming on a show. The man had COVID, nobody helped him, struggling on his own. Now at Cornerstone, having to find a place to stay, homeless, and coming to work, and your car look for him, your car find something for him to do, your car give him a little kakada. So do better than that. Do better than that, if for nothing else. Champagne, I don't know, yeah, between bagayli. But we pass on the norm keep a côté pour westy. It's really sad. And it also, I think, speaks of that kind of lack of empathy. But you might also say, who am I to speak? The munaki mede koila. But out of just human decency, I mean, right is right, wrong is wrong, and that ain't looking good. I think we have a call. Good afternoon.
Yes, I just want to back up what you said there. I mean, as a father, I cannot see how people could do that with themselves. Why would Champagne and those people do that with themselves? Those children. I mean, what are you setting to your children when you behave like a? I mean, I don't want to call him names because he's a father. I'm a father. But why would people do something like that with themselves? Those guys are coming on that station there and really embarrassing, the nation. Mm-hmm. So I just want to encourage the government. Look, this thing, what Alan Chassé did there with that money, that is the breaking of the camel's back for me. Mm-hmm. They're going to go far with this thing to the end. I want Alan Chassé to come back and answer. I heard Champagne telling him, don't come back to the next match. Yeah, don't come back. You have to come back and answer, Champagne. He has to come back to answer. Right? Yeah. And I'm betting the last dollar in my pocket that CMO didn't know anything, was not in on that thing what Chassé did there. I'm betting my bottom dollar. That's something he's doing on his own. And that's the kind of managing he's doing.
Did we lose a call?
I'm just saying, government, please, do something for us. Go to the end with this thing. I want to see that. That's a breaking of the comments back with me and that Chassé guy. And Chassé doesn't know you, You're not coming back and saying again, People don't do those kind of things. Thank you, Trisha.
Thank you very much, caller. Yeah, that Shastin guy. I like the way you put it. But again, like I said, and like you said rightfully, I didn't even think. You have so much going. I didn't even think of the CMO and her being involved, because in the press release it said the Ministry of Health and the Ministry of Finance work together, you know, to get more vaccines, and then you have the health minister saying that she knew nothing about it. So what is the case? Caller, you are absolutely right on that one. If nothing is done, the indictment must fall on the SLP. It must fall on the Solution Labour Party for us to just go as if nothing happened. I know it's under investigation. I'm on the tackle. Good afternoon, caller.
Yeah, good afternoon. I just wanted to engage you with on the topics at hand.
Yeah, go ahead, sir.
Well, essentially, one, I want to congratulate you. I think you've been doing a wonderful job. You know, really top journalism at its best. I wouldn't even call it a talk show, because you really come out with a lot of facts and enlighten people. And you have this continence that you know, just people just gravitate to you. I think it's a really good program.
Oh, you're making me blush.
And you should continue.
Thanks.
But on a more thing note, you've really enlightened me on so many things, the facts coming out and everything else, and St. Lucian should know that, because there's been a lot of hypocrisy on governance in itself. But clearly we're seeing what should obtain for governance now, and I think that the government is doing a good job. Quite apart from that, the other burning issue, and of course, is the COVID thing. And I just want to send a message out to all the non-vaxxers that people should look at the broader implications of non-vaccination and everything. And while I think people have the right to have their questions about the effectiveness of it and so on, you need to look at the broader implications of this. It's really a problem, because you find it has a domino effect of affecting down the road. If we can't get a level of herd immunity, you're going to get the banks not being able to support. In fact, by now, they've suspended the moratoriums. People who have loans, and that's the middle class people, will start really under that pressure. You're not going to get economic activity, because the shops will close, people will lose their jobs. I mean, the domino effect of this thing is problematic. So, you know, the message needs to go out there. Mm-hmm. It's not just saving lives. I mean, when you look at the cons and the pros, the disparity between taking the vaccine and not taking it is so wide in terms of deaths, in terms of hospitalization, even severe illness, that, you know, it's unquestionable as to where you should go. I mean, I think there should be a clarion call from even the Christian community to save lives. This is the way to go. It's not about world order and all these kind of things. If it was a world order thing, white people wouldn't be jumping and taking it. Ministers dying, prime ministers dying. It has no respect for position. This is serious, you know what I mean? And people need to look at the broader implications of that. And while there are persons who are vaccinated who might be infected, the disparity is too wide between those who are non-vaccinated. And if we want things to return back to normal, the economic activity, and for the country to move forward, I would urge people to look at this thing closely. Do your research, see your doctor first, of course, because you may have underlying conditions that would not be conducive to you taking it. Mm-hmm. And they'll give you directions as to what you should do in a situation like that. But persons with underlying conditions, they would instruct you as you should, in fact, go forward and take it, and would protect you down the road. So I trust that people will do the right thing as a caring solution. And I look forward to us, at least by Christmas time, being in a better situation than we're in now. Thank you very much, Tresha, and continue doing a very good job.
Thank you very much, caller. And you yourself, I hope you enjoy the rest of your day. And on that one, I tend to agree with you on that one, that it should be something that we look into. When you look at the statistics, and they tell you 96% of the hospitalizations for COVID are people who are not vaccinated, you know, it goes to show what this is, and it goes to show that, you know, being vaccinated, it does give you this level of protection. If you look at all of what we're seeing and the deaths and everything else, 96% of the people in hospitals for COVID have not been vaccinated. So please, yes, go to your doctor, see whether that works for you, see whether they're saying that it works for you. Let's take the other call. Good afternoon.
Yeah, good afternoon.
Hi.
Yeah, there is a lady who spoke very well on Street Vibes last night. I think her contribution was concerning the state of the things in the country. So she highlighted that in town is empty and nothing air running and all these stores empty. So I think she deserves a gold medal for that. But I will take away the gold medal from her because she did not state as to where the money went. So yes, she said things are tight in the country, but she did not say that there was a bypass road that cost $13 million. You understand? She did not say that Lockerbie received $32 million. She did not speak about the radical investment. She didn't speak about the wastage of money at St. Jude's. And she did not tell us that every former minister of government turned millionaires. And the list goes on and on and on. So if you want to say, well, things tight in the country, you could say things tight in the country, but you must tell the people of the country where the money went. You understand? That's my contribution this afternoon. Thank you.
Thank you very much, caller. Thank you. And, you know, even if it doesn't have to be millions you're talking about, you never find yourself, like, every time, you know, you get paid, you're feeling like you're on top of things, you know, you're going out, you're spending money. Eklana Takodi buying more veil or tell me, you're thinking of that day you had money, and you think of all the measure you spend it on, you know, you're having fun with your friends and everything else. And that's just, you know, a couple $100, you know, you get paid, you feeling yourself, whatever. Can you imagine, if you people don't have a conscience, can you imagine looking at what is being needed for a country? Children needing laptops and MiFis and all around the country, things that could help in education and healthcare. And all of the money that's been wasted being given to people like Yomem Fuka, they leave. And everybody that come in there, they always say as if, like, you know, hey, they get a bois. So Lokabika Ministia, Poelaja, Sorti. What's the people, Pumandu, come and take money, move. Radical, come and take money. Huh? I have to say come and take it because wait, I'm not seeing it, so more way. And all of what we've seen in the past 5 years, and then we now have to find a way to scrunt and get money, you know, and do all of that. And then you have people saying, shut down the country, because that's what's needed for COVID, and not, you know, to look at the effect and look to vaccinate. So create a mess, then tell us how to fix it, and say close it when you know there is no money and you know you took all. Let's take the other call. Good afternoon.
Tresha?
Yes?
How are you, my dear?
I'm all right. I haven't been called my dear in a while. Dis-moi.
Tout businessman, ça veut dire qu'il faut importer un bagage. Dans la banque là, on a okay, 15% up, 40% up, and the rest on receipt. If you're a businessman, you're savvy, you say guru as Minister of Finance, and buy window wrong. Back away and buy wrong. Back away, sir. Any businessman who ordering goods in St. Lucia, any work, knows you order goods, tell the man give me a terms of payment, come to the bank, you pay 20% or 10% up and blah 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 blah. Okay?
Yeah, I hear you.
Well, okay, wait. Tout businessman savent ça. C'est pas de moi. C'est pas l'argent, non. C'est pas jeune l'argent, non. Moi, par là, moi, je veux pleurer. C'est jeune monde simplifié. Faut intelligent assez pour tester cause autres. Mettez mazot, s'il vous plaît. Si, avant yon l'année encore, nous, on a eu mettre pour éradiquer COVID là. C'est une chose pour vivre. Mais à présent, on a baillé en poche, nous, en bonne. Mettez mazot. Mettez au loin, mon. S'il vous plaît, vacciner. Si j'aime mon parler avec ce gars, mon nom. C'est qu'on ne pas quitter mon courant tête zone. S'il vous plaît.
Thank you very much, sir. I appreciate your contribution. I do think, do we have any other call? I do think we have come to the end of the show. I As always, look forward to hearing from you. It's always a pleasure being here, and it has been this week, and I'm sure it will be next week, and we will continue to speak about everything. There's nothing that we will not talk about. I don't like to think there's anything that, you know, I'm squeamish about or something that I'm shy about, and even though I am, and even though it's uncomfortable, even though it's awkward, you know, I think we all need to push ourselves to a point where we need to talk about everything. We need to especially hold these different administrations accountable. And as for Shasni, you could say what you want, and there is a situation that we have to deal with and all of this crisis, but sometimes when you don't see someone for a while, I don't know if that's what your tactic, ma'am, you say Peter Wickham ki do sak or pavini and try to make people miss you. I do not. There is no regret. You had to go, and for myself, you have to stay gone. The only reason I want you to come there is come and answer your name. If you are found guilty, bring you where you need to go. I don't know, put you somewhere in a prison. And for me, that's where it's at for me. But as for what has happened with the elections, for all of what has been done under this administration, even when you think you finish, imagine that, you think you're done with the administration, and even now you realize there's an ongoing saga. You see nothing yet, and still Shasni is giving me more to talk about on the show. Let me come back again about. Please, guys, my lovelies, thank you very, very, very much, and I hope to see you guys on Monday. If you haven't already, please research, talk to your doctor, see about getting vaccinated, and you know, let's do that. So I could enjoy you could say it could be for different reasons, you know, but I know for a lot of people it's just because we miss having a good time, and that's, I think, is reason enough for some. So with that, like I said, I hope you do take care, and I'll see you on Monday. Bye. I can't stay.